Hello, beautiful light-filled souls. My name is Tricia Barker, and today I'm going to respond to some comments and questions that people have emailed or left in the YouTube comments section. If you haven't seen my video about my near-death experience, you might want to watch that first. If you have, then here are some answers. So the first comment that I would like to talk about is one that said something to the effect of many near-death experiencers report that near-death experiences are more real than this reality. I have said that many times, and for me this is true for several reasons, but the first one is the minute I popped out of my body, I was this spirit form and I could see the operating table, I could see the surgeons, I could see the entire room, and so I was an added reality to this reality, and the angels were an amazing added reality to this reality. They were huge, they were very large and incredibly intelligent beings, and so I began to learn at a quick rate because they sent healing information and knowledge into my spirit form. They also interacted with this reality by sending a healing light through the back of the surgeons and into my body, letting me know that I would walk and my back would heal fine, and indeed it did. So they were interacting with this particular reality, and their presence was an added reality that amazed me. Many people have spiritual experiences or have these moments of awakening while still in their bodies, but to have a near-death experience is a particularly odd one because you are no longer in form. And when you're out of form, you interact with angels or the environment outside of your body in a real way. And so these are not called near-death dreams or near-death brain shutdowns. They're called near-death experiences because you're actually experiencing something. It's hard to bring back all of that knowledge and all of that learning and describe something that is not comparable to this material world. So that's why people struggle sometimes, is you're talking in a world where most people have not stepped out of their form, and it's hard to describe perhaps that experience to someone who hasn't had that experience. But moving on to the next question, I had someone ask me, can we talk to angels in small ways in our lives, and can we also have our angels communicate with other people's angels? Well, to the first part of that question, certainly we can call on angels in small moments in our lives. We can call on a higher power. We can certainly call on God's messengers, as I like to think of them, to help us in certain moments in our lives or to just give us peace. I often use the power of angels after a meditation or during a meditation because my nervous system has calmed down and my brain is in a different state and I feel secure and protected. And so in those moments, I allow for angels to either send me healing energy or information or knowledge, and I compare it to how it felt when I was outside of my body. And if I get a similar feeling as the angels are working through me, then I know I'm probably on the right track with that. So that's the answer to the first question. Certainly you can call on them, but maybe not, it won't be as effective if you're in moments of high stress. It's probably better, like any prayer or meditation, to be in a calm state where you're able to hear their communication. And as far as angels communicating with other people's angels, I have to say that I'm not sure. It might be more beneficial to ask them to be with you or give you guidance for important moments of communication with you and another person. So if you are worried about a particular conversation that you're about to have, you might call on guidance before you have that conversation. But I don't think we can rely on our angels to communicate with other people's angels. I'm not saying that that doesn't happen, but I'm saying that we are living out a journey, and this journey is one where we learn from our experiences with other people. So to become better communicators and to become more skilled at navigating this world is something that angels could probably help you with. The third question is one about the truck that was featured in my near-death experience, which is an odd feature, I will admit. There have been people who have seen animals in heaven or past relatives. Well, the truck was connected to a past relative. My grandfather died when I was 10, and he looked very young in heaven. I may not have recognized him, but he left us this truck, and this truck sat in our front yard, dilapidated and old, and it was revived for the transfer from my childhood memories to this heavenly landscape. So my grandfather was carrying me in this truck, and I was doing what I did when I was a child. I was interacting with nature, and perhaps that was shown to me because I might not have recognized my grandfather had he not been connected to that truck, but at some point during the experience I recognized him. And the moment of dying sunk in on a deeper level. I realized that I was there with him, and it took a moment where I processed that, but then he turned to me and he said, "Would you like to continue on?" And there was the light of God, and I knew that continue on meant continue with the dying process and go towards the light. And so I smiled at him and said, yes, definitely. And then I was going towards the light. So I think the truck was there as a way to help me remember my grandfather, but also in this form, I was able as a spirit form to move through walls. So perhaps we can simply conjure something like a truck for the sake of memory in that environment, and it is there so that someone will feel safer or more comforted or at peace. So that truck gave me peace and comfort and helped me recognize my grandfather. Now, the next question that I often get is a question about God and the experience of God and what my religious beliefs are currently. So I'm not going to go into that too much, but I do want to talk about my experience of God. I did not see religious figures during my near-death experience. That does not mean that I might have had greater knowledge about religious figures had I continued on, but what I did see was God, and there is no one or no thing on earth that can tell me that that wasn't God. God was the most loving, amazing, incredible force. I felt no fear, no want for anything. I was completely at peace and completely happy. In our minds, we're often so judgmental, or we have this God concept, which is made up of many different concepts and ideas throughout our life. But to experience God is to experience unlimited joy, unlimited love, unlimited pleasure, unlimited acceptance. So there was no part of me that was not accepted and loved, and that's an amazing feeling, one that we just don't have while in these bodies and interacting in this particular world. But I was completely loved, and as I neared that light, I did not want to leave that feeling. Who would? It was the best feeling that I'd ever imagined. So that moment in time was, to me, powerful and life-changing, and I was told by God to return to my body and work as a teacher, which I did, and that part of my life has been a very beautiful, meaningful, important part of my life. Now, as far as religious beliefs go, I look for love in a church. I look for love in a spiritual teacher's message, and if I don't see that love, then I'm not interested. So I look at religion a little bit differently than most people do. If it's teaching me to be a more loving person and connect with love, then it is the right path for me. I am not telling you what path to follow, but I am saying that through my near-death experience, I experience God as all loving and all forgiving, all powerful, and I look for that love in messages. So when I'm at a church and the sermon is teaching me to be more loving while in this body and walking through this earth, then I honor that message. If I am somewhere where I feel that the message is one of hate, then I do not see that this message is of God. So fear and hate is not something I connect with God. So in that sense, There may be many people who have disagreements with me, but that is my experience, and I honor the love and the light in each of you. And I hope that you can honor the love and light within me. So may you be blessed.